Okay, so what you're looking at here is the maps GUI for configured. Each line that you see here is what we call a profile, where you can define the different traffic actions, things like what number you want to dial this profile. So if you go to the editor and profile editor, so you see here we have entries for each analog line. So each one, like just as an example, which number you want to call. If you want to do path verification, once the call is answered, you can select traffic types. So we can do a voice band measurement. So this is essentially the voice quality test measurement. We can automatically send a voice file, send digits, facts, tones, so on. And then for each of the traffic option, you can define exactly the parameters that you want to use. So for digits, for example, what digits you want to send, the levels, frequency, not frequency, but duration, right? For tones, you can define frequency, power level, and so on. Okay, so each line has its own sort of configuration that you can do. So this is going to be a call between 1 and 13. Okay, so we take the line off hook. You hear the dial tone, hopefully. So we're dialing digits, and then you hear the ringback tone. On the other side, we're detecting for the ringing signal. And then we go off hook on the answer side, and now the call is up, and then we're going to do a path verification, which sends a sequence of tones between the two sides. And I think this right now is configured to do a voice quality, so it's going to go into the voice quality test now that the call is connected. So we play a series of tones to synchronize the two sides, and then we do the voice quality.
Clothes and lodging are free to new men. The glow deepened in the eyes of the sweet girl.
That was the reference file for a polka voice quality
Clothes
test.
and lodging are free to new men. The glow deepened in the eyes of the sweet girl.
So it does the voice quality in both directions, and we can see the score here in this message sequence. Okay, so that's one run of a pretty basic call scenario. I'm gonna switch the traffic type to fax. 1 and 13. So while that's running, for the fax traffic parameters, you can define the minimum and maximum data rate, and then you can define whether you want to enable ECM or not. We're transmitting this image file, this TIFF file, as the source. So while that's running, you can see each step of the way what's happening in this fax transmission. Received file is placed in this path. Okay, so this looks just like the source file. So for these two calls, I just set it to 1. there's one other feature that we have here, which is called the load generation. With this setup, you can define a time period for the number of iterations that you run. So you would define your script just like as you would in the other view that I showed here in this view, right? You have the script, and then you can define your profiles that you want to use. Let's say I want to use the first 4 profiles. And then you set the total cost to generate to be infinite, and then you put in a stop time duration. So let's say I want to run for 2 hours, right? So I can start this, and it'll just continue to run through the script, and then until the 2 hour is satisfied. And then for each call that you make, right, there's a result that's associated with it. So this result is defined in the script. In most cases, if the path is established, we'll say it's a pass, but you can define it however you want. And then there's a statistics view that shows you how many calls you placed and how many passed based on the criteria that you define in the script. So if you run this overnight, right, you'll see how many calls were good, how many failed. And then as far as the VQT score goes, we can store the result for each call that you make. So you'll have a sort of a probably in the CSV format of the score for every call. So you'll see in this APS profile here, we have a region here that you can select. And there's different options for different regions. You can also add your own regions as well. So these values here, they correspond to the regions that's defined in this APS regions profile. So for what we have defined here, right, we include the cadence and the frequencies and so on. But you can also add your own region into this list as well. And then there's a tone detection file. It's called a .mtd file. And here you're basically defining the frequency of each tone that you're expecting. Okay, so this is the US region, and then we have definitions for dial tone, ringback, busy, and so on. We need to set this to voice band measurement. There's a tab, shows you the measurement that it took. It's 1 measurement per second, shows you all the measurements, and then what the criteria is for a pass. So we have a version for Python and one for Java. What I'm showing you here is the Python API. Okay, so I'll run this example here. Essentially, this is taking control of 2 lines and then just a simple 2-way call. There's a command here called open line. So when you call that, you're essentially reserving the line for yourself, and then the other users, can't use that line until you release your line at the end of your script execution. So in here, there's a close line function, which will release the line. So it's essentially running through these function calls one by one for each call that you make. Okay, there you go. Right, so for each function call, you get a pass or fail, and then you can decide on your call flow that way. Right, so this is the 3-way call example where you need to do a flash hook, and then dial a third party. So when you're running it through the API, right, you know exactly where it failed because you're getting the result each step of the way, right? You'll see you can print out your results. You can store that into a log file.